When I was a student, me and my housemate at the time played a game of chicken with our heating each winter. We would see who could leave it longest, see who would cave in first when it came to flicking on our old dial-based radiator system. And part of this was because it's sort of fun, but mostly this was because we didn't have the money. We couldn't afford to pay bills, and this was in sort of 2021, 22, where bills were absolutely going through the roof. And our roof wasn't insulated. Dinky little bungalow, slightly scummy landlords. I'm pretty sure some of the floorboards were painted dirt. So my room would threaten to get really very cold, and so I kept my window closed each night to keep some of the heat in. But this just made me uncomfortable in a slightly different way, in a antsy, existential way that's difficult to put your finger on, but exists both mentally and physically. You know, squirming at night, unable to get to sleep. Because you and I as human beings breathe in oxygen and breathe out CO2, as I'm sure you're aware. And in a vaguely closed room, the amount of oxygen you're breathing in and taking out of the atmosphere isn't really an issue, as I understand it. But the amount of CO2 you exhale can be a serious problem. A closed bedroom, according to one study I have read, can reach in one night more than 1,000 parts per million of CO2 in the air. And another study, 2 studies for one video, would you believe it, correlates higher than 1,000 part per million of CO2 with a decrease in general test scores of 2 or 3 times. That means scoring half as well or 1/3 as well after a night of sleep in a room with a closed window. And I've been going around saying recently, and I can't find any kind of source for this, but I've been going around telling people that that impact on your cognition is roughly equal to drinking a pint of beer just before you wake up in the morning. I've got no way of verifying if that's true. But what certainly is true is that the actual harm caused by high concentrations of CO2, caused by poor ventilation, caused by sleeping with the windows closed, caused by garbage landlords and high bills, exists, is real, is measurable, and isn't limited to the physical. It changes your mind, the you bit of you. And the thing is, I knew this at the time. I didn't have the studies to hand back then, I don't think. I knew it had some impact, but I kept my window closed anyway, because it was too cold and too expensive to do otherwise. A pint before you wake up.